Now, recall that recently the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, famously exhorted his party faithful, particularly the elected ones, to go and become a strong, credible opposition and to present themselves as a viable alternative to the ruling APC party. In a country thirsty for visionary leadership and for protection from the forecast ravages of bad governance, Mr. Obi urged them to forge a new front and to break the mold of Nigerian politics. So how distinctive have they become in their new role as the opposition stormtroopers? How much are they prepared for organized, constructive disagreement? And does that strategy entail supplanting the current lead opposition party, the PDP, or does it involve working with it? Well, one place where they are starting to make their opposition clout felt is the National Assembly, where they say they'll no longer sit and nod in acquiescence.
Mr. Speaker, the People's House is represented by many political parties here. In this debate, we've had over 22 speakers, of which the majority of the speakers are APC and PDP and 3 NMPP. And yet the Labour Party is the second minority party in this House, and nobody from Labour Party has been asked to stand up. Mr. Speaker, am I protected?
Mr. Speaker, maybe has not been the office.
Point of order noted. Point of order noted. We recognize you. Don't worry.
Am I protected, sir?
You are not
protected. But you have made your point. We will do the needful.
Mr. Speaker, I recognize you as the most fair-minded speaker. You don't discriminate. But it will appear that this debate has been hijacked by a certain political party, denying all of us the opportunity to speak, Mr. Speaker, on an issue that cuts across all the 6 geopolitical zones. Mr. Speaker, I'm only begging and appealing to your fairness that we all know you, sir, that you call some NMPP and Labour to contribute to this debate, Mr. Speaker.
Which party are you representing?
I represent Labour Party, proudly.
Is that how you pronounce it?
LP 78, LP 79, LP 80.
Thank you. Your point of order is noted.
Distinguished colleagues, I wish to appreciate our service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police for their gallant service and sacrifice to Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, as regards present economic realities, can the CDS inform this People's House of Representatives if he has adequate and necessary platforms, assets, and manpower to undertake the operations that he is currently leading? Also being cognizant of human rights, especially in their various theaters. Then secondly, Mr. Speaker, I wish to align myself with my brother, another Labour Party brother, Honorable Ginger Onwusibe, when he stated about the utilization of political solutions to security. Mr. Speaker, considering the high rate of crime and criminality, banditry and assassination and kidnapping, especially in the Southeast, I wish to ask the CDS, would not the release of my constituent, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, be a panacea to peace in the Southeast? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very interesting indeed. A growingly assertive Labour Party in the National Assembly there. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the man you saw in that video, the House of Representatives member for the federal constituency of Ikwuano-Umuahia under the Labour Party, Honourable Obi Aguocha. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you, Charles. Happy to be back here again.
Yeah, let me just ask you, what was the response of the Chief of Defence Staff to the questions you asked? Because you asked him whether or not releasing Nnamdi Kanu would not help to make the Southeast safer.
Yeah, I did ask him that, and his response was that the matter was in court and that it would amount to be subsidies for him to engage in it, which is reasonably an answer. But I also believe that it is in the best interest of this government not to be held hostage as the previous government did in not showing concern as to the release of Nnamdi Kanu, what it would do, not just for the Southeast, but as well for Nigeria as well. Nigeria is facing multifaceted challenges, most especially in security and insecurity. So the earlier we begin to take it serious, for us in the Southeast, like I've said, I'm also chairman ad hoc committee on security and insecurity in the Southeast with special emphasis on Ikwuano-Umuahia local government areas of Abia State, which is a huge flashpoint. Right now we have a lot of crime and criminality, just like I said in the video, whereby a lot of assassinations and banditry and kidnapping are ongoing. But I believe that as a panacea, that the government has to look favorably into obeying court orders. As a nation, we ought to be a country that obeys court orders. There are two, it's not just about Nnamdi Kanu. There are two court orders, a federal high court judgment and a court of appeal judgment that says this man should be discharged and acquitted. And the previous government were not satisfied by that. They now went to the Supreme Court to appeal it. Of course, this was before the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, came into power. But what we are saying to the Mr. President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is not to be held hostage by the discomfort a previous president may have had with a personal discomfort that he may have had with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But we're still a country of, rule of law. And the government, we are appealing to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whom I must have to say has been quite responsive to our request, to our appeals, to have Mazi Nnamdi Kanu be freed. So I'm sure he will be a listening and attentive president if the Supreme Court affirms the lower trial court, which is the Court of Appeal, and the Federal High Court, to say this young man is discharged and acquitted. And myself, I'm available as his representative. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is my direct constituent. If nobody speaks for him in Nigeria, it is my responsibility to speak for him, to make myself available, to avail myself at any level of dialogue, and to also help to galvanize our people, our elected officers, our traditional institutions, as well as the apex organization, Haneze, towards this cause, and to ensure, like I said, that we work with the government effectively to ensure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released. Now, lastly, the reason we're also saying to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, there are high crimes and criminality going on. People are agitating, using his detention as the basis of their agitations. And they're using that basis to kill, to intimidate, to harass a whole lot of people in the Southeast. There are many communities in the Southeast that people have vacated. They are no longer there. People are afraid to go back. So with the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, then we will pull the rug off their feet to now know those who are the actual criminals in the Southeast.
That's a very good point, and we'll be watching that very closely. But let me return to the original premise of you being here, and it is in some ways related to what, we saw you quite voluble at the National Assembly, the House of Representatives there. There is an important role for the opposition Labour Party in that National Assembly, isn't there?
Yes, of course. We model ourselves, whether they want to hear it or not, we model ourselves on the values that P2B has espoused for Nigeria. Yes, he's not the president today, but doesn't mean that he has not left Nigeria to think about what Nigeria can be guided us. So Labour Party, especially those in the National Assembly, are working towards his guidance. What does P2B want? P2B wants Nigeria to adequately address the issues facing Nigeria, issues of insecurity, issues of unemployment, the hardship that Nigerians are facing today. Charles, there's no gainsaying. 27% inflation rate. You have almost 40% increase in cost of food. People are no longer eating. And when people can provide food for themselves, the government can provide food for themselves, it leaves us with more insecurity, more anarchy and more crisis in the country. That's what P2B is talking about. P2B is saying that government at all levels must remain sensitive to the plight of the poor people. And that's what we are pushing in the National Assembly. That's what we will have to push in the National Assembly. Previously, you may have looked at, all political parties on all sides, whether it be PDP, Labour, NMPP, all the oppositions that we may have stalled. We didn't stall. It's just that the court, a whole lot of people were in court. It distracted a lot of people.
But you survived.
But I survived. Despite all, I told him in the last show, God showed up for me. He showed up when I won my election, showed his grace, showed his faithfulness to me and to my people. And today, at all levels, he has also showed up faithful to me. Can I wipe my... Okay. So now we are out of court. Majority of the National Assembly are out of court on all sides. What you would see a re-engagement of members of the National Assembly to the issues that are of concern to Nigerians.
And beyond just the Labour Party, the collective opposition, do you think that they're credible and strong enough in the National Assembly to make waves?
Of course, even the party in the majority now, which is APC, there are still people in APC that are disenchanted with the way things are going. They will also be vocal in supporting credible motions and bills that will address some of these deficiencies and gaps that now exist. So, but it's not that we are going to wear gloves and start fighting each other, no. But we are going to be insistent.
Well, that would be exciting, wouldn't it?
No, we're civilized people. We're very civilized people, so I would not think that we should lead in that direction.
No, of course.
But we're going to be assertive. And we're not going to stand and be intimidated by anybody. Whether you're APC or whether you're PDP or Labour, we were all elected in the same way that everybody was elected. Our elections were at the same time, and we came almost through the same electionary process.
But I mean, collectively, what sort of numbers, arithmetically, are you in opposition?
Because
I mean, the equations changed a bit with all the court decisions and so on.
We still maintain a sizable majority, which is a majority, meaning PDP, if you combine PDP...
You mean the collective opposition?
Collective opposition. Right. We still have a majority than the APC.
So you're arithmetically advanced?
Arithmetically, yes. We have advanced even more than we were at the last stage that when I came on this show. So, but we're going to move forward as a body, as an institution, to continue to do good works for the for the citizens of Nigeria who themselves are in severe hardship, and until we begin to put adequate programs that will cure some of the hardship that they are facing, then it's going to be a battle royale in the House of Representatives.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Because you will not shut me up, and you will not shut a whole lot of people up from questioning from questioning the policies and programs of the government of the day. We're not going to be a rubber stamp. That much I can assure you.
I'm going to come to talk to you in a minute about that possible merger of the opposition parties that Atiku Abubakar has been talking about. He's of the PDP, of course. But what about issues like the purchase of those SUVs that we're told cost some 160 million naira each. I mean, the national chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Habure, urged Labour Party lawmakers to reject the cars, describing the purchase of those official vehicles as the height of insensitivity. I mean, you're here talking about the poor of Nigeria, and you're all riding in SUVs. Let me just make the point. I mean, did you collect your own SUV? Is it ready to be collected? I mean, in defiance of that party chairman request?
No, well, we've had the SUVs on their way.
So you're going to collect it later on?
That's not the issue. The issue is
well, the issue is first of all, are you going to collect
Charles,
it?
let me explain it this way. The issue is that the vehicles are the properties of the National Assembly. It is not an individual property. The assets are assigned.
Yeah, but it's still Nigeria's money, isn't it?
It's Nigeria's money.
Yeah. So why are you buying vehicles that are 160 million?
It is not up to me.
No, I know, but you're the opposition. I mean, if there is something wrong, you oppose it.
Yes,
that's the whole idea.
I'm coming to that. Okay, I'm coming to that. Now, the vehicles were assigned to individual members for their constituency and oversight functions. Just like they were assigned offices, they were assigned desk chairs in their offices. These are entitlement of the office, not the individual. Now, if I were allowed to make that choice myself, of course, I would have made a cheaper choice towards local content, towards local manufactured vehicles. Yeah, but that will increase employment opportunities.
But did you raise that on the floor of the National Assembly?
Yes, we did.
What was the because I don't see why you guys could not have bought innocent vehicles.
No, but that's what I just said to you.
In my family, we own an innocent Jeep, and it's a perfectly well-running Jeep.
And I support that too.
So I don't understand why you guys are buying Prado Jeeps and Toyota Land Cruisers when you could have bought innocent cars or any other manufacturer in Nigeria and contribute to this. That money stays in this country.
But I just said that to you now. If I were to make an individual choice and to say, well, Obi Aguocha, we're going to give you this opportunity to buy a vehicle.
You could say you're not going to use that. The one that is assigned to you.
It is assigned to my office. What if there's an act of God today, and Obi Aguocha dies? God forbid I will live to 124. Yeah, and Obi Aguocha dies, and the person who comes after me has a different view and opinion about the ownership.
Well, you could say the same thing about a Prado Jeep.
Of course.
I mean,
of course. But what I'm saying is that if it is me that is given the opportunity to say, well, what do you want?
No, but what I mean,
I will buy an innocent vehicle
what I would like to
production.
know, Honorable Aguocha, is whether or not, just like you've raised the issue of insecurity in the southeast, just like you've raised the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, did you raise this issue on the floor?
Yes, Charles, we did. We raised it.
And what was the response?
But the response is this. Let me phrase it this way. The response is simple. In democracy, the minority have a say, but the majority have their way. So that if I come and object to it, and the majority says no, this is what they want.
Yeah, but the chairman of your party asked you guys to reject
there are
it.
conflicting reports on that. The chairman says we should reject. My national leader, Peter Obi, says, well, these vehicles...
Yeah, that is true. I read that.
Yes, these vehicles are for official...
And naturally, you chose the one that...
No, not naturally. But as a strong party man that I am, Labour for life.
Right.
As a strong party man, if there's an official position of Labour Party, believe you me, that says, well, all Labour Party representatives...
Yeah, you would have stuck by it.
I will stick,
okay, well, let's move away from that because we haven't got that much more
Mm-hmm.
time. What about all the talk introduced by Atiku Abubakar of the PDP of a possible merger of the opposition parties into one mega party? Is that being discussed amongst the opposition in the National Assembly? Are you seeing those opposition lawmakers forming closer ties with each other in furtherance of that?
I've read about the former vice president talking about mergers. I just told you that I'm a strong party man. The merger that is effective And for me, will be when Peter Obi, as our national leader, calls us and says we have to merge. But until then, I'm a Labour Party man. I will remain a Labour Party man, and moving forward in the advancement of all the issues that we believe that will help to uplift Nigeria beyond where they are now. And those are issues of insecurity.
Right.
Those are issues of the excessive hunger that is happening. Charles, in Abuja now, nobody is safe anymore. There are kidnapping activities there in Abuja. And that means that, people need to be concerned about it. It's not just a P2B issue. We need to go back to the ideals that P2B advocated during the campaign that says Nigeria must move from consumption to production. And when we do that, our revenue base will go up, crime and criminality will go down, people will be productively engaged. So, but right now, we're still unable to service our debt. For every 95% of our revenue inflow goes to servicing debt. Unemployment and underemployment are over 57%. In the next 25 years, Nigeria will be the second largest population in the world. We're not even thinking about adequate infrastructure that will lead us to the next 25 years. We're just kicking the can along the way. So I wish Labour Party, we had an opportunity to govern this nation, but I believe in the next 4 years, P2B and the Labour Party will increase their majorities, not just in the National Assembly, in the state houses, and we will be the president of this country.
Well, we'll be watching your movement up that ladder very closely. I want to thank you very much indeed. Honorable Obi Aguocha is a member of the House of Representatives for the Federal Constituency of Ikwuano.
LP 78,
I thought that was very funny when you said that.
80.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.